Coming up on the WAC podcast, the NCAA tournament. It was exciting. GCU wins a game, but then they unfortunately lost to Alabama. We'll break that down. CBU, their season is over as well. Basketball season is not quite over yet, as Seattle U is in the CBI Championship game. We'll hear from Cameron Tyson, the star of the Red Hawks. We're also going to talk a little baseball, softball. That's all next on the WAC podcast.
Dun, dun, dun. This WAC podcast is brought to you by our friends at University Credit Union, the official financial institution partner of the Western Athletic Conference. You know, some people may say December is the most wonderful time of the year, but I disagree.
Whoa.
It's March. It's March Madness. And it sure was maddening.
It was marvelous for a little bit.
It was.
When you consider there was a pretty good dry spell over a decade where a WAC team had not won in the first round. A couple years ago, we had New Mexico State breakthrough. They beat Connecticut, by the way.
Yes.
That was the last tournament game they lost, which was because they won the championship last year, still in it in the Sweet 16 this year, #1 seed. I digress. Grand Canyon plays St. Mary's. That was a 12-5 game. We talked about it last weekend. We liked the matchup. We thought the Lopes could break through, and guess what? They did.
They did, 75-66. This was a fun one. It was really close at the half. Grand Canyon was up by 1. But then in the second half, you know, towards the end, they really just started to come together. You know, Tyson Grant Foster led the way, of course, 22 points. Ray Harrison chipped in with 17. Gabe McLaughlin had 12 and Colin Moore had 10. So 4 guys were in double figures. It was really just a team effort. Gabe McLaughlin had a double-double. Don't want to discount that. 11 rebounds as well. Just seemed like they were connected. They were playing well. They had been in the tournament before. Didn't feel like the moment was too big for them. And they came away with a massive win. And it didn't not hurt them that, you know, it was in Spokane, Washington, a place that may not love St. Mary's with Gonzaga right there. And they had a great crowd that traveled. The Havocs were in full force and a great game to showcase Grand Canyon on national television.
Yeah, and to hear Charles Barkley and Kenny Smith and Ernie Johnson all raving about Grand Canyon, and to see the Havocs. I mean, they had a plane full of Grand Canyon fans that went to it, and they were also at the GCU arena. And as Kenny Smith mentioned in one of the comments after the game, that was the only time we saw that during the tournament where they were cutting away to the campus. Like it was, you know, Alabama, it wasn't as big a deal maybe to their fans. They're not having a watch party with a bunch of people there as GCU did, and it was packed and they're having a great time. But wow, what a coming out party to the nation for GCU, to everyone, and to see Tyson Grant Foster play that way. Charles Barkley compared him to Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. So, I mean, that's pretty high praise.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, Grand Canyon was put on the map this year. I mean, they've been on the map, but continued to gain a lot of national attention, especially with that San Diego State game. And then just to see them come out in the tournament, you know, this is the first time they've won a game in the NCAA tournament. So a big moment for them. And then they got to advance to Alabama, which, you know, wasn't a bad matchup. We felt Alabama could have been a very beatable team. That one was a tough one. I watched this one fully. I had gotten back from my sister's 30th birthday. It was a great timing to be able to watch this game. And, you know, Tyson Grant Foster, he led the way with 29 points. And then, you know, it almost felt like everyone felt like they needed to be the one, you know, to step up. So Alabama was up by 8 at the half. And so I think they were kind of playing catch up, and nerves kind of were starting to hit. A spot in the Sweet 16 is on the line, and everyone just is like, I got to do it myself. I got to drive to the hoop. You know, when we talk about just 5 assists on the game, I think was a little tough.
Unusual to have that few assists, but I think it was also partially due to Alabama's defense.
Yes.
I mean, Crimson Tide played great defense in that game. You know, could have gone the other way. I mean, I know when the score I don't think is indicative of how close that game was.
Right.
Because Alabama winds up winning by 11 because it was much closer, even down the stretch. Some missed free throws definitely hurt the Lopes there. 23 of 37 from the line, 62%. The 3-point line was also unkind to GCU, 2 of 20 from 3-point land, and to be playing a team, you know, Power 5 school, #4 seed. does make it tough to win, but it does not take away from the fact that GCU 30-win season, first time in school history, on the map nationally, which they may have been on already, but what a fantastic season for the Lopes.
And I mean, they're going up against an SEC powerhouse, and they held Alabama to 19 points below their season average. And so, yeah, look at that. But they're, GCU hangs their hat on defense, and that's what they were able to do. Their offense just wasn't able to get going. But Alabama has a tough defense too, and so really proud of Grand Canyon. I mean, what a season, and what a way for Grand Canyon to go out and build for next year.
Absolutely. And on the women's side, CBU went to UCLA, and they had a nice crowd of CBU fans about 70 miles from their campus in Riverside to Pauley Pavilion in Westwood, California, where UCLA plays. We knew that was going to be tough. Number 6 ranked team in the country. You could make a case the Pac-12, the best women's basketball conference in the country. I think they had 3 teams ranked in the top 10. UCLA playing without Lauren Betts, their top player, 6'7", but they have so much size and so much depth. But I mean, CBU hung with them for a little while.
They did, I mean, they hung tough. They fought, you look at like the second quarter, I mean, 14 points to 17 points. They were doing their thing. It just, it's a tough battle when you're looking at UCLA, but Kinsley Barrington and Nene Calhoun did a great job. Barrington put up 18 points. Calhoun also had double figures, 10 points as well. And so, this is a big moment for them, their first ever appearance in the NCAA tournament. I think they made the most of it and did their thing out there.
Yes, and congratulations to CBU on their first ever NCAA appearance. And Tarleton, meanwhile, closer to home, as we're in Arlington, they're playing in Stephenville. They advanced to the semifinals of the CIT. They played Indiana, Purdue, Fort Wayne. Unfortunately, came up just short, kind of a strange, series of events at the end there, but nonetheless, an outstanding season by the Texans.
Yeah, I mean, the Texans have just put on such a phenomenal season. I don't think anyone on the outside, maybe the program within, knew how special they could be. But looking at this team, I mean, most new players in the country. You have an interim head coach at acting head coach,
right?
In the middle with Billy Gillespie, and this team just took off. And it was such a weird ending. They called a random. Ja'Cory Smith was on point to be able to hit the game-winning 3, which we've seen him do all year multiple times. And they call a random foul. I think it killed the momentum, and they just weren't able to get to the basket close enough to draw a foul and, get to the free throw line, end of the season. But man, to be able to also have that tournament hosted in Stephenville with the fans, that gym was packed all week when they were performing. So that was pretty cool, and big things for Tarleton State next year is they're finally eligible and don't have to worry about if they win, they can't go.
And 25 wins on the season. So great. It'll be interesting to see if Coach Jones, what his future entails, because I would imagine that's a pretty good, resume builder for the season. He had, he was WAC Coach of the Year. Of course, Billy Gillespie, the, coach who's got all kinds of experience and championships and those kind of things, back as head coach next season. Meanwhile, Seattle U down in Daytona Beach, Florida, playing in the CBI, has made it to the championship game. And you had a chance to talk with Cameron Tyson, their outstanding super senior.
Yeah, I was we'll hear that interview in just a bit, but one of the things we talked about is, after the season's over, you kind of look around, what do we do? What do we want to play in the postseason? And he kind of said that the underclassmen left it up to the upperclassmen. Hey, it's your last time. Do you want to go through with this? Do you want to do another tournament? And the guys were like, yeah, we don't want this to stop. And so they've been dominant in this tournament. They beat Delaware State 79-66, 71-57 over Evansville, and crushed Fairfield last night 75-58. So looking forward to the High Point matchup. I got a chance to watch High Point Arkansas State last night at the gym.
Did you have a scouting report for us?
High Point it looks like they were ahead for the most part. Arkansas State was just playing catch up, and they almost had a chance to win it there at the end, but High Point pulled away. I think this is going to be a fun matchup. And one of the things, it's on ESPN too, which is, Seattle U has never gotten to be on linear except for yesterday when they played Fairfield. So that was a big push for them to, be on national TV as well.
Yeah, they're just clicking on all cylinders. And remember, this is one of the teams that beat GCU during the regular season. And John Christophilus has really, stepped up. He had 21 points last night. Cam Tyson, of course, Alex Schumacher, the man that makes it happen, throwing the alley-oops. Riley has been a human highlight film.
I know.
Kobe Williamson coming off the bench has been playing well. Brandon Chatfield in the middle. So it makes you wonder, if they had, I was thinking this last night, what if they had an opportunity in the NCAAs? Could they have won a game potentially the way they're playing right now? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I could see them beating St. Mary's, and I could see them going toe to toe with Alabama too. So it's just a matter of, what ifs.
And getting those opportunities. And they're right now on the year, they're 22-14, but they're in the championship, which will be on ESPN2. I believe that's either 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock Central Time tonight. So national TV audience 2 nights in a row. You can't beat that.
Can't beat it. I believe it's 4. It's 2 p.m. Pacific. So
Okay,
would that
so
be 4?
4
Yes.
p.m. Central Time. So also going on, we have conference baseball. So actually, let's take a break and then let's talk about conference baseball.
University Credit Union has been serving students, employees, and alumni of the university community for more than 70 years. We've got plenty of moves that benefit our members, like the lowest loan rates in the nation guarantee, educational resources, personalized savings and investing advice, and 24/7 online and mobile banking. Plus, our virtual assistant, Royce, is always happy to deliver an assist. University Credit Union, the winning choice. Learn more and join today at ucu.org.
Welcome back to the WAC podcast. Eric Daner and Kendra Sheehan. Baseball, as basketball season winding down, last game of the year tonight. Baseball heading into its 3rd week of conference play. So we're getting an idea, maybe even 4th week of conference play now that I look at it. We're getting an idea of who the teams to beat are. Non-conference in terms of win-losses wasn't the greatest that we've seen in recent WAC history, but now that we're getting into conference play, perhaps a little more separation right now, Kendra. CBU on top with a 5-1 record, 3-game win streak, and also the WAC Player of the Week.
Yeah, Nicholas Doomsnow from California Baptist. Doomsnow. We'll get that right for the WAC tournaments, baseball. Sophomore outfielder, 467 batting average, 3 home runs, 5 RBI, 2 stolen bases, and they're on a win streak of 3. California Baptist was a team last year, and they've always been pretty good. They're typically getting better, but last year, they had a great team, and they had the unfortunate stomach bug. I believe they had a lot of food.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's food poisoning necessarily, but their starting pitcher was having some issues, and so I think they were just a little bit run down in the tournament. But this is a team I'm very excited about. And
they get to host UT Arlington this week. The Mavericks currently 6-3, so that should be a good matchup here. As again, we're not too far away from the WAC baseball tournament. This is our final show of March.
Oh yeah,
and into April, and then we're talking WAC tennis championship, WAC women's golf, WAC men's golf, and then we get into May. It's the WAC softball tournament, WAC baseball tournament, and then we don't see Kendra for like 2 months.
That's right. I mean, summer comes along, you got to disappear. You got to come, you got to hide away and then pop back up.
We kid, Kendra. So other looking at this thing, of course, Grand Canyon was picked to win the league this year, 13-10 overall. That's a little surprising, perhaps, but again, a very tough schedule that the Lopes have played. 7-2 in the WAC, and GCU will be hosting Sacramento State in Phoenix this week. That's always a fun one to watch.
Absolutely. Sacramento State's always typically pretty good. And, also I think each of our teams have scheduled really aggressively in this non-conference slate. I mean, we're seeing Power 5 opponent after Power 5 opponent. And so, regardless of those win-losses, the teams are facing good opponents and they're getting good experience for the future. And so very excited about the way that we're attacking that non-conference scheduling, because that's how we're going to rise. Can't be scheduling Division II schools anymore. We're going big
time. And they're getting,
and it also helps that we have a lot of schools that are playing in warm weather where draws in Power 5 schools from up north and east or wherever that don't want to play in the cold or can't because their fields are covered in snow.
Absolutely. And it's also baseball opening week for the majors. I know James Outman, former Sacramento State outfielder, has been the starting center fielder for the Los Angeles Dodgers. Tarek Skubal is going to be the starting pitcher on opening day for the Detroit Tigers, as he's had some injuries he's overcome. And then Reese Hoskins, former WAC Player of the Year from Sacramento State, now with the Milwaukee Brewers.
Yeah, we got a few guys that you can keep your eye on in the majors. And then also we have several guys that played at WAC schools that are working their way up through the, I guess, minors, the affiliate programs. And
Jacob Wilson, what was he, the 7th pick in the draft last year?
I think
So,
so.
I mean, we've had some good luck in terms of having some high draft picks, especially recently. Abilene Christian, they've been playing really well also. They are 6-3 in WAC play, as is UT Arlington, who we mentioned. Utah Valley at 4-2. The Wolverines defeated, they had a WAC. They beat Arizona State, and then they also beat BYU.
Yeah. Utah Valley is under Eddie Smith is a growing program as well. And props to Eddie Smith because he is all over social media. He is on X now all the time posting about he does a lot of recruiting, I think, from social media. Their facility is beautiful. They have the mountains in the background. And so he's doing a lot to bring that program together, and what they were able to do last year, making quite the run into the championship. So that's another team. I think our baseball league is pretty deep. A lot of people, forget about our baseball league. We have great teams in this league.
Yeah, that the BYU game, of course, that's a huge rivalry. They're, Provo and Orem are right next to each other. BYU was up 11-6, and then Utah Valley scored 9 runs in the 7th inning to win 15-11 against BYU, who, by the way, is in the Big 12 now.
That's right. And I mean, Utah Valley, when their bats get hot, they can put together massive innings. We saw that last year in the tournament, but they can get hot and put together some impressive runs to, they're never out.
That's right. And switching over to softball, Grand Canyon atop the standings at 6-2. Utah Valley, Utah Tech, both at 4-2. California Baptist at 4-3. Seattle U at 3-3, 11-18 overall, but that's always one you got to keep an eye on there. The Redhawks, and they'll be hosting this year's WAC tournament. UT Arlington at 2-3, Tarleton and Abilene Christian both at 3-5. So a lot to be sorted out there, but probably no surprise that Grand Canyon currently on top of the WAC.
Absolutely. When you got a player like Kristen Fifield on the roster, she's going to put up big performances every time she goes to the plate. She's so good, so talented, and just an absolute veteran presence on the field for them.
They will be playing at Utah Tech for a 3-game series this Friday and Saturday. We have Abilene Christian hosting Utah Valley. Seattle U will be hosting Stephen F. Austin. UT Arlington, Southern Utah, California Baptist, Tarleton State. So check WACsports.com to see all these great matchups that are coming up. And our WAC Ticket Smarter Players of the Week on the softball side, California Baptist, Kayla Lyon, sophomore third base catcher. Huge week for the Lancers, hitting 2 home runs in back-to-back games against Long Beach State. And then also against Southern Utah, had a .538 average, 6 runs scored, 8 RBIs, and a home run and a double in that.
And Utah Tech's Atlin Johnson is our pitcher of the week. She's a junior. She had a 1.27 ERA against Stephen F. Austin, struck out 13 and walked 2 in 11 innings. And then she threw a complete shutout in a 1-0 win over Stephen F. Austin as well. They played in that doubleheader. And so limited SFA to 6 hits and striking out a career 9, walking none. So very impressive. And, Utah Tech was, I believe, the #1 seed last year.
Yeah, they were.
And so they're also a team that has been rising in the softball ranks.
I also wanted to mention we in our baseball talk there, we failed to mention our WAC baseball Ticket Smarter Pitcher of the Week. That was Brett Landman from Abilene Christian. Had a second consecutive quality start following a 3-0 Sunday ACU victory, then won over Sacramento State. He went 7 full innings, allowing just 2 hits and 3 walks with 7 strikeouts. So as I mentioned, ACU, that's a team to watch, I think, in WAC baseball.
Absolutely. Rick McCarty has always put together a pretty solid squad. And, they just haven't gotten over that hump of being able to win a championship. It's their goal this year. Talked to Rick McCarty earlier in the year before baseball was getting underway when I went to a basketball game at Abilene Christian. He's excited. The guys were pumped up. The clubhouse was bumping. And so this is a team also to watch.
Yeah, they also had our WAC Play of the Week, WAC Top Play.
That's right. They did.
So a lot to look forward to there. We're going to take another break. When we come back, we're going to have Kendra's conversation with Cameron Tyson of Seattle U as they play in the CBI Championship coming up tonight. That interview is next on the WAC podcast.
In the WAC, we value sportsmanship on the field.
And in the stands.
We take pride in playing fair and being honest.
We honor the game by showing respect for our opponents.
The officials,
the fans,
and our team.
Great sportsmanship is about taking ownership after a loss.
And being humble after a win.
We want you to team up with us by staying positive on the sidelines.
Because great sportsmanship is what unites us.
We are
the Western Athletic Conference.
Welcome back to the WAC podcast. I'm Kendra Sheehan, now joined by Seattle U men's basketball player Cameron Tyson. Cameron, it's so good to have you here as you guys were playing last night in the CBI, a big win over Evansville. And so for you in this postseason tournament, what has it been like as this team rolls on to the semifinals?
It's been amazing. I think it's just a great opportunity to share this experience with a great group of guys. And I think that's ultimately why we chose to play in, a postseason tournament. It's just because of how tight this group is and how much we enjoy playing with each other. So we're just trying to cherish every moment.
This team has had 21 wins on the year. You went into WAC Vegas and you battled it out against Grand Canyon. First, you got a massive win in your first round. Then you take on Grand Canyon. It was an absolutely tough battle. What was the conversation like afterwards? You lose in WAC Vegas, but you want to do this postseason tournament, and you kind of mentioned it a little bit, but who kind of spearheaded the decision to play in the postseason and give guys another chance to play another game of basketball?
Really, we just came together as a group, and we was just like, our underclassmen kind of left the decision up to the older guys, and we was like, we don't want this to end, and everybody was kind of on board with it. And kind of like I said, everybody enjoys playing with each other, and I feel like that's what makes us such a good team is that we are actually a team, and we play together.
Obviously you're not reinventing the wheel in practice leading up to this tournament. You're just kind of cleaning things up. What was the focus that week of practice that you guys had before you took on Delaware State in the initial opening round?
Just being us. I think Coach Vic has preached that the whole month of March. And when we play our best, I think we're a hard team to beat.
Absolutely. And a little bit about your background. You start your collegiate career at Idaho. You break the freshman scoring record. Then you transfer to Houston. You take the team to the NCAA tournament. You guys win a game in the tournament. And then you want to transfer back home to Seattle U and put Seattle U men's basketball on the map. When you look back at your career of basketball, what stands out to you of what you were able to accomplish at Seattle U and make it a school that people know nationwide?
Yeah, I kind of knew the pedigree that was behind Seattle University before I got here. I'm a local kid, not really from Seattle, I'm from Bothell, but surrounding suburbs. So I kind of knew what Seattle U was, and kind of knew that it wasn't what it used to be. And so for me coming back home, I wanted to bring that back, and I took pride in that, and just kind of wanted to change the culture.
I saw the video that they released about you before WAC Vegas, your teammates, your brother, talking about what you were able to accomplish. Over 2,000 points at Seattle U. It's been so impressive. When you saw that video, what was your initial reaction to all the things that your teammates and coach and brother had to say?
I think the main reaction was just, I feel like I've came a long way as not only a basketball player, but as a person. And just to see how everybody looks up to me on a day-to-day basis now is kind of amazing to see.
Where did you first develop that leadership that you have? When you step in a room, everyone typically listens. And so where did that kind of come from or stem from?
I couldn't really tell you, but I think I gained my teammates' respect by just being a day-to-day guy, being somebody that was reliable, somebody that, on and off the court, they could be that I could be counted on. And so I think my teammates respect that, and they know that I got their best interest, and I want to see everybody win.
You also got to go through this journey with your brother, DeMarcus, who's on the coaching staff as well. What was that journey like for you, and the dynamic that you get to play with your brother and have that guy push you as well?
It's been amazing. I mean, just knowing that, you know, you're going in every day and somebody has your back, somebody has your best interest at heart. It just motivates you to, you know, want to work that much harder and want to do that much more for the program.
I got a chance to speak with your mom at WAC Vegas. It was not hard to spot her because she had your face on a t-shirt. So what has that support like been for you? And are they over on the East Coast watching you now?
No, the fans did not travel for this long trip, but it's been amazing. I mean, I played in front of, you know, my friends, my family, ever since I got back to Seattle, and, you know, having 40, 50 tickets for each game, like, and just seeing my whole community come out and support. It just brings motivation and makes you feel like you're playing for something, you know, bigger than just yourself.
You have Fairfield tonight. You're on ESPN2. What's the goal going into this one? How do you match up against Fairfield? What have you looked at in terms of film and stuff preparing for this one, as it's a pretty short turnaround?
Yeah, I mean, they're a tough team. They're not here for no reason. They got guys that can go, but we got guys that can go too. And we think it's going to be a fun one. So we're excited. ESPN finally.
That's right. What's the motto of this team during the postseason? Also this run. I mean, this is such a veteran group. You were one of the oldest teams competing in the postseason with all the guys that you have. What's kind of your mantra as you kind of have this one final ride here with Seattle U?
You're only guaranteed 40 minutes, so make the most of it.
What are your next steps? What's your next journey in terms of, you know, playing professionally or testing the NBA waters again?
I mean, I couldn't really tell you at this point. Just trying to, you know, enjoy this last of with these guys, and to really just give this team my all. And then when you know this comes to an end, then I guess I'm gonna have to worry about that. So I have an answer then.
That's right. You don't have to focus on that right now. Going back down memory lane, can you pinpoint a specific memory in your basketball career at Seattle U that stood out to you the most, or something that you look back on and smile when you think of the memory?
I think being champs my first year, I think that's something I take pride in. You know, I walk in the facility every day and able to say that, you know, look at that banner and say I was able to be a part of that team, and be with those unbelievable guys. So I think that's one thing that just stands out to me in my Seattle U career.
And your relationship with Chris Victor, I mean, he took over, he was interim head coach, then came head coach. What is your guys' dynamic, and how special is that relationship?
It's definitely very special, something I'm gonna cherish for a lifetime. You know, somebody I'm gonna call, even when I'm far removed from this program, and definitely somebody I look at as a mentor and somebody I look up to.
Well, Cameron, we want to wish you the best of luck as you take on Fairfield tonight on ESPN2. It's a 6 p.m. Pacific time tip-off on national TV. Good luck.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for listening to the WAC podcast. Make sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. And check out our website at wacsports.com.